Hi, it's Amanda Dubois again, and I'm here in Baja again. And this time I'm going to interview my really good friend, Jaresy Plata, who is an amazing activist here in Todos Santos area that has all to do with environmental work and composting and making this a better community. So welcome and thank you for coming to talk to me.
Thank you, Amanda. I'm very excited to be here. It's an honor that you have invited me to your project, so we're ready.
All right. Well, so first of all, tell us a little bit about you.
A little bit about me. Well, I'm from Nuevo León. I've been here in La Baja since 4 years ago.
Okay.
And in my academic years, in my formal education, it was studying forestry engineering. And then I did my master's degree on forest science, but I was specialized on soil, on arid lands, like La Baja. And I went to an internship on Spain, and I learned a little bit about fire ecology. And then I went back again to work in a project in Alicante for a restoration of ecosystems, arid ecosystems in there. Uh-huh. And that was like my background on academics, and I get very interested on populations and communities and try to understand how everything was connected and everything has an influence on different things.
Which brings us to the whole idea of the ripple effect.
Yeah.
So when we were talking about this, it was kind of funny because ripple effect isn't really a Spanish or Mexican terminology, right?
Yeah, it was a fresh concept for me. Uh-huh. But as I understanding is to see how much can affect a little action through the community, through the ecosystem itself. It's right. Like it repeats and affects a lot.
So the funny thing is you don't necessarily know the word ripple effect, but you live it. Right?
Yeah, in a way to speak, yeah.
Yeah, because that's kind of what you're doing here, right?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what is going on in the Todos Santos area with regard to recycling and composting and trying to make this a better ecosystem.
Well, I've been working 1 year and a half, we go for 2 years. And I'm the manager of the organic waste program, organic waste management, right? And since we started, we tried to understand how Todos Santos works. Todos Santos, El Pescadero, like these
so those
areas.
Are communities.
Yes.
Okay.
Like these communities that are so interconnected.
Right.
And try to understand how the organic waste was produced, transported, managed, and eventually used, the products of it. We realized that there were just there were people making compost in the region. There wasn't a lot of people working on organic waste on this big scale. Because I don't know if you already knew this, but the organic waste represents here on this particular and unique region more than the 60% of all the waste that gets produced and ends up to the landfill.
And when you talk about organic waste, what do you mean by that?
For organic waste, everything that was once alive.
Okay.
If it was alive,
okay,
it's considered like organic waste. And here in Todos Santos, we're talking about the kitchen waste from the food scraps. We're talking about all the rest of the foods in restaurants. Like when you don't finish your plate, where that goes, right? But particularly here on Todos Santos and El Pescadero, we have this issue with the palms. So we have huge pieces of land that are mostly palm, and they cannot be easily composted. And because it's very hard to manage and in processing, people just leave it there.
Okay.
And transform into fire harvesting. It's like it becomes into a dangerous field that it's out there.
Because it can catch on fire.
Because it can catch on fire. Like this year, we already have 2 fires on the Palmar.
Okay.
And 2 houses get burned. So it's for people, it's a very like dangerous issues because we're right next to it. You can see it right here, right?
Exactly, right.
Also, because the tourism is the principal activity here in the region, one of the most produced waste in terms of organic is the citrus, because we love margaritas. Yes.
The limes.
Yes, the limes. A good lemonade. And in proportion, that's a lot. So what we can do with that, right?
So let me ask you a question. Why does it matter what we do with all that stuff?
It matters because it's the one type of waste that actually can be processed in here.
Okay.
We have problems on decreasing nutrients on soils here because the monocrops, and we have the changing on the use of soil, pass it to be for agriculture right now to residents, right? And more and more often the usable soil for agricultural or for landscaping or for gardening gets disminuido, so the nutrients on the soils also decrease.
Okay.
We can transform all that waste
Into nutrients.
into nutrients for the soil, exactly.
Okay.
We can put it back in the soil and return it all the nutrients that we're taking out.
And if we don't do that, then it goes over to the dump. Or what do you?
Yes,
right?
yes, it goes to the landfill.
And then what happens to it?
Well, because the properties of the organic waste, it's more likable to do two things. One, get burned, because the organic waste tends to get heat.
And it catches itself on fire, right?
Catches itself on fire, exactly.
And that's not good for the environment.
No, because it not only burns the organic waste, it's also burning the plastics
All
that
the
are
plastics.
that are on the landfill and other very contaminating materials that are next to it. Because in the landfill, it's not getting separated; it's all together. So if one thing starts burning, everything gets burned.
Okay.
And the second biggest issue with the organic waste is the lixiviate. Have you seen if you put a lot of organic waste into a bucket, you see how the liquids start coming out of it,
Right.
right?
Yep.
Nobody likes the smell of it.
Smells.
Yeah. Those lixiviates travel through the soil. And if not, they're not well separated and processed, because again, like I say, the materials on the landfill are everything combined.
Okay.
So if you have a lot of, I don't know, if you go and throw a lot of tomatoes,
Okay.
and there's some batteries next to it, exactly, the lixiviate, it's also going to wash all the battery materials, and it's going to go underground.
And underground is where the water is.
Exactly. Here in Baja California Sur, we don't get our water from rivers, right? Or superficial body waters. We do it on underground water, right?
Right.
So if we in these type of ways contaminate not only the superficial water that we have just a few, but the underground water.
Okay.
And the landfill it's located right next to a natural scorrentine of water that goes down from the mountains.
Uh-oh.
Yes, it's a huge uh-oh. And the rate of growth that the landfill it's need to have, it's huge. Because
more people keep moving here, and people are putting all their stuff in the landfill.
Exactly.
And the organic waste is causing it to liquefy.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the toxins are going into the water.
Yes.
And then where does that water go?
Oh, well, that water goes either to our homes, to our showers, but also goes to the ocean.
And what happens to the water when it goes to the ocean when it's got all this crap in it?
Oof, it goes a lot of contamination. It can be very harmful for the beautiful diversity that we have in our oceans. Like, everybody loves to want to come here and go to see the whales and the dolphins and all other beautiful creatures that are in the ocean. Those are endangered because if we keep contaminating the water, that ends up on the ocean. And not only from the landfill, Amanda, also the fertilizers that are using on the monocrops.
So talk about the monocrops. You were telling me about that earlier.
What's
a monocrop?
A monocrop, it's when you have a piece of land, use it for agriculture, but you don't change the species on the crops.
Okay.
So let's say if you want to cultivate chili, but you only crop chili, and
Every
chili.
year,
Every year. So that means that all those crops are sucking always the same nutrients from the soil, and they are like sucking up all the nutrients. So the agriculturists, people need to put a little extra chemical developed fertilizers,
Okay.
rich in nitrogen. But again, everything that you put on soil, and if it's liquid, is going down.
Down to the water.
Down to the water.
Into the ocean and into our houses.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. But the extra problem here is that you put a lot of extra chemical food, right, on the water that goes to the oceans.
Okay.
So the algae, there's a lot of species of algae in the oceans.
Algae.
Algae.
Okay.
That suddenly have a lot of food, chemical food.
And that's what's going on over like by Cancun, where that's all that.
Yes, the sargasso,
is
exactly.
coming onto the beach because why?
It's the consequence of the use of fertilizers on the crops. Up, more to the north to the country.
Okay.
All those fertilizers end up in the oceans, and feed artificially to all this community of algae.
So that algae is being fed way out in the ocean somewhere, and then it comes back up on the beaches. And that's because this is like a huge ripple effect, right? Like you put chemicals up in the mountains on the crops, comes down into the groundwater, comes into the ocean, messes up the algae, messes up the whales.
Yes, exactly. It messes up with all the trophic webs, the who eats who, and all these connections between a species gets very affected, because suddenly one single of these species got a lot of food, got a lot of advantage.
Okay.
So that also affects to the other.
Gets out of balance.
Gets out of balance, exactly. So that's the biggest problem. And that comes with the organics. It tells us here in Todos Santos, like I say, the 60% of all the waste that go to the landfill, more than the 60%. It's higher than the average worldwide. Like worldwide, it's always 50-50.
Because we drink more margaritas?
Yeah, yes, because we drink more margaritas, and because
we have pumps.
We have pumps, and we all have like big gardens. We have like more space where vegetation grows, but we want that grows in a certain way, so we cut it.
Because landscaping.
Landscaping, exactly. So all these, it's like the biggest problem on how the landfill needs to be grown. But also is the only reachable solution too, because we can transform it. Yes, but there's a lot of type of compost we can do it, not just the regular one. There's different techniques that we want to use to process, because again, it's the only ways that we can transform locally. If you have a ground, you have the time and the will to do it, everyone could do their own compost, right?
Okay.
If you have a backyard, for example. And also it's a solution because the small producers or the people that wants to harvest their own food or increase the food security,
right,
you can help with that because they don't need to use chemically made fertilizers.
Right, because when you make the compost, then that gets reused onto the local crops.
Exactly. And you increase the quality of the food that came out of it.
Okay.
And decrease the damage that you're doing to the soil. It's like, yes, you're taking up some nutrients, but you're putting back again. Oh, and also, if you put compost on the soil, you increase the capacity of water captation.
Really?
Yes.
And that's a big issue here because there's not a lot of water.
Exactly. And it helps to the ecosystems to be more resilient for climate change. If the temperature happens, if suddenly a very huge, big, aggressive hurricane came, the soil, it's not going to be all removed. It's not going to be erosionated.
Oh, because it's going to hold the water in it.
Exactly.
Wow. So how does that then impact like the community? So we were talking about we're saving the whales and the algae and the sea life, and what about the community here?
On the community here, well, like I say, you can increase their food security.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that the crops that are already here can be sustainable, can long through the time and still be productive.
Because you're not doing the monocrops.
Exactly.
Okay.
You do the transition into more less aggressive methods on agriculture.
Okay.
Right? And also, because if you don't take the organic waste, either from the landfill or from the regular lands, like if you don't do anything with the palmer,
Okay.
it's going to grow and grow and grow. But that palm, it's filled.
So you're talking about the palm grove, because Todos Santos has a huge palm grove.
It's a huge palm. It's a palm forest. I like to call it because that's what it is.
It's like that.
Yes, but because it's very hard to manage all that material, people just let it there. And when you let it there, if that gets burned, it's going to burn a lot. It's going to make a huge, and so that's a social harm.
Right.
Because you can have the fires here. We have experienced this year. Like I say, we have 2 fires already. So that's another impact for the community. Like I tell you, we have different methods
Right.
to transform the organic waste into quality soil. One of the methods use the palm and can be able to take it out from there. And instead of being dangerous, we transform the problem into the solution.
I never think of a palm grove. I'm from the Northwest, right? The Pacific Northwest, and we have forests. And we have a lot of forest management, but I've never thought of a palm grove as being a palm forest. But it's the same thing exactly.
Exactly. It's exactly the same. And also, if the palm is so opportunistic that if you don't manage, it's going to grow.
Really?
It's going to grow, keep growing and keep growing.
That's good. They grow fast.
Yes. They grow fast and they're hard to take it away. It's a very opportunistic species.
So you're talking about like that, I'm looking right now at the palm grove, the dead sort of brown leaves that come off the palm. Is that what you're talking about getting rid of?
Yes, and the branches, the whole trunk.
Okay.
Yes, that's why people build with palm, because it doesn't decompose.
Really?
Yes, that's why. All the roofs in
All
las
the palapas.
in todas las palapas, that's what they use palm, because grow fast and doesn't decompose, so it can last for years.
So
exactly the same.
Our little ecosystem here in Todos Santos, talk a little bit about Alianza Cero Basura.
Well, in Alianza Cero Basura, our biggest objective.
Well, first of all, what is it?
Oh, Alianza Cero Basura. It's a group of commitment citizens that are looking to change the way of the community perceives, produce, and interact with the waste.
Okay.
So in the case of there's like 5 programs. There's community program, the schools program, so we can reach and educate as much as people possible, and to teach them your trash does not disappear once it's out of your house.
Right.
Someone just move it away, but it doesn't disappear. Right. First of all, remember that, and to teach our community what are the local solutions that we are proposing, right? Because it's a huge problem that is going to increase as the amount of people here increase too.
Right.
It's not relation one-on-one. It's exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It goes more like exponential instead of just a relationship one-on-one.
So you got a master's degree and all kinds of education in soil science and fire
Ecology.
Fire ecology, and you end up in Todos Santos, and you coincidentally end up getting a job at this like most perfect place so that you could do what for your community?
That was exactly what happened.
Right?
Yes.
That's crazy.
I get invited to a Zumba class, and yes, and I met a lot of great people in there. I was a very lazy person, I didn't exercise or anything, but then I started going there, and it was really fun. And there I meet Jenny Sutton, which is my mentor on Alianza Cero Basura. And we have a couple of interviews, and they say, okay, we have to do this together. And I'm very glad because
And she's like in Zumba, and what's the chances she's going to find somebody with a master's degree in soil science in her Zumba class?
yes, that it's unemployed at the moment.
Right.
So it has like several factors that need to be coincident in the same moment at the same time.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it was pretty amazing. I've never been in a job that dignify most like what I'm doing. Like I feel very proud of what we're doing. Like everything, I can see the effects, like literally from one week to another, how much waste we avoid to get to the landfill, how much organic waste we transform into compost and then go to the soil. It's like I can perceive it. It's not like that waste just disappear out of my view and we send it very far away. No, 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 no. Here, we transform it here. We capacitate people to do it themselves. We give capacitaciones. We teach people how to the gardeners or the landscapers. It's like, don't throw that away.
So you're teaching landscapers, you're working with the restaurants, you're working with the hotels,
Yes.
you're working with the communities, you're working with the palm groves, all of that for the purpose of making sure that all of the waste is managed properly.
Yes, exactly. To decrease the amount of organic waste that get to the landfill. That's my biggest objective. But we don't have like one single solution. Our efforts are going to create a whole system with a lot of different approaches to get that waste from the landfill. Yes, we do compost, but also we know farmers that have pigs. To give you
everything.
Yes, they can eat everything they love. And they don't care if they are eating oranges or limes. It's like, woo, comer, no? So different approaches to do that and the different techniques because not everybody can have the same time or can put the same effort to process their own food. So we also give people options to transform. Okay, you can do it yourself. This is how you do it. You want to hire someone to do it for you. These are the people that can do it. You rather to those organics pick it up and go to a compost place. We can also like here is how can you do like different approaches to again to divert as much as possible organic waste from the landfill. Right now we're starting a huge project. We make an agreement with INIFAP, which is the National Institute for Forest, Agricultural, and Pecuary Researching.
Uh-huh.
And they have borrowed us 2 hectares of land in an experimental field. Okay. So they say, okay, we also need to understand, monitor, and experiment with different type of compost. No one has done it. So you can do it. Let's research it all together.
Sharing with the government.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes, it's a national government institution. So they also wanted to know like how this get managed. What are the best methods? What happens if you do this, if you do that, like these variables? And we say, cool. And in the meantime that we're doing that researching, we are also solving the problem of the waste because we are experimenting right in the field. What is the best way to process it or to get a higher quality on compost?
And so I heard somewhere when I was at one of your events that you're trying to make Todos Santos the first, was it waste-free tourist
destination?
What does it
Yes.
say that again? And then, yeah.
We, our goal, like the biggest goal is to transform Todos Santos and El Pescadero on the first touristic place in the country that accomplish zero waste practices, like generally. That'd be huge. Because right now we're in a point that Todos Santos is growing up, but we have a very united community. Diverse, but very united and with a lot of compromise. Everyone that gets here and says, I want to live here, I want to make my life here, gets committed to preserve it and take care of it and to say we all own it.
Exactly.
It's from everybody, so we should do something.
So what can anybody do to support what you're doing?
Well, you can research all what we're doing on our página cerobasura.org, cerobasurabcs.org, and
That's your website?
That's our website. You can search on social media, Cerobasura BCS, to see like all the different approaches that we are doing, and get involved, get educated. Like I always tell people, it's great that everybody have good intentions, but they also need to have information. Like, yes,
Well,
knowledge.
Also people come down here to vacation, and like, how can they like donate? Can they donate?
Yes.
Or like, you come down here on vacation and you might want to make a donation, because I'm coming down here in this beautiful place and I'm going to impact the environment. So there's also a donation.
And I want to come back the next year.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay.
I don't want to be burned down, and I want to have
Yes.
healthy water, and
You can donate. We are an AC organization, so you can support us, either spreading the word, either helping us with money and donations, so we can keep doing this. And also volunteering in a lot of activities.
This is a nonprofit, and you guys raise all your own money. You're not getting any, except for sounds like with the hectare that you're working on, you've got some government support. But generally speaking, this is a
that was it's a huge favor, and it's a huge thing. But that's the only thing that we're getting. And we have to do the whole job. We have to maintain it, and that's why we need people support.
Right, but you also need money.
Yes.
Because it's all donations. This isn't a government organization. Right?
Yes. But that also, to be a nonprofit organization, give us the opportunity to try different strategies, because the profit is not our big goal. No. It's to solve the problem of the waste.
Right, but you need money to get there.
We need money to get there. We just need to be sustainable. It's like we're not reaching to become rich. No. We're trying just to maintain the operation in order to solve everyone's waste problem on organics, right?
Well, your ripple effect is not only in the community, but it's in the ocean and in the forests and in the farms and the groundwater. It's pretty amazing.
Thank you. Well, I think that with the right knowledge and the right direction, I think that we all can be part of this ripple effect and generate their own ripple effect. If you talk with your neighbors on separate the organics from the inorganic trash, that generates, that's huge. That's huge. If you try to find a solution or options to how to do it, you're generating a ripple effect, right?
Well, thank you for talking to me about your ripple effect. It's kind of astonishing. Young woman who has all this education in soil management is over here like completely changing the whole environment, the community here. So thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you me for for the invitation, and also for allowing me to tell the people what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And yes, we have a big monster in front of us, but we have the total willing to face it and to defeat it.
Well, and they have you on their team. So thank you.
Thank you, Amanda.
Quiero contarles a mis amigos de mi pueblito lindo y querido. Entre La Palma y La Choya, muy cerca del paraíso.
Porque es un bonito lugar para todas las personas que vivimos aquí.
Porque es el lugar en donde queremos crecer con nuestros hijos y convivir como comunidad.
Porque Todos Santos es un espacio en el que conviven muchas personas y necesita estar limpio.
Y lo queremos mucho y debemos de tenerlo limpio.
Todos queremos vivir en un lugar sano y limpio.
Para nuestra salud, para estar bien.
Para el bien de todos.
De la playa hasta la sierra.
Todos cuidemos Cabeza Blanca. Todos cuidemos San Vicente.
Todos cuidamos San Juan.
Todos cuidemos Barrio Los Zarapes.
Todos cuidemos el río.
Todos cuidemos San Vicente.
Todos cuidemos los barrios del Pescadero.
Todos cuidamos el centro.
Todos cuidemos el barrio Las Palmitas.
Todos cuidemos Barrio El Rinconcito.
Todos cuidemos el quinto.
Todos cuidamos las tunas.
Todos cuidamos la brisa.
Todos cuidamos el quinto.
Todos cuidemos el río.
Todos cuidamos Todos Santos.
Todos cuidemos pescadero.
Todos cuidemos Todos Santos.
Todos cuidemos el pescadero.
Todos cuidemos Todos Santos.
Todos cuidemos el pescadero.
Todos cuidemos Todos Santos.
Todos cuidemos Todos Santos.
Todos cuidamos Todos Santos.
Todos cuidemos Todos Santos.
Todos cuidemos todo.
Todos cuidamos todos.
Todos cuidemos todos.
Todos cuidemos todos. Todos cuidemos todos.
Todos cuidemos todos.
Todos diremos menos. Recoge lo tuyo, jálate a bailar.